So, since the last week we have started with the new module which is module number 4. So, what is it? Microwave semiconductor devices, right? So, again, why are we studying this module? So, let me go to full screen and select my pointer first. Yeah. So, what was I saying is why we again go for this module is because for microwave semiconductor devices, since they are obviously semiconductor devices, they are very compact and light in weight, right? So that is the main advantage of these semiconductor devices. So they perform the same operation as microwave tubes, okay? But so what is the disadvantage of microwave tubes? As you saw, they are nothing but sort of waveguides. So they are converting the DC beam power to AC beam power, and we are getting either amplification or amplification. So, and the advantage of using microwave tubes is that they work at high frequencies or microwave frequencies, but they either require a external permanent magnet for their operation. So these permanent magnets are very bulky. Okay, so this increases the footprint and the overall weight of the system. So that are the problems with klystrons, magnetrons, and traveling wave tubes. So so and if you observe in the annals of history, most of these tubes were discovered during World War One or World War Two. So they are used in radars and for defense applications. So that is what. So we, even though we think World War was a bad thing, so if you think in other terms, in terms of science, so science mainly progressed because of these two world wars. Okay. So as you know, the world war happens in around 1945 and 1938. So later on, as technology progressed, it was required that the overall weight and footprint of the system should be reduced. So obviously, we cannot have external permanent magnets, for example. So researchers went for a solution in semiconductor devices which work at microwave frequency. So then came the various diodes and all these semiconductor devices which we are studying. So that is essentially what these first two slides say. So we study PIN diodes, varactor diodes, tunnel diodes, gun diodes, and IMPAT and TRAPAD will study today. So first we saw varactor diodes. What is it? It is nothing but a PN junction diode, but performing a variable capacitance. So we call it as a voltage variable capacitance. Why? Because as you increase the magnitude of reverse bias voltage, what happens? The width of the depletion layer. So if you increase this reverse bias voltage, this width W will increase, right? And if the width W is increased, C is epsilon A by D. So D is nothing but W. So if W increases, C will decrease. So that is what is mentioned here. C is inversely proportional to W, the junction capacitance. So this acts as a voltage variable capacitance. So at a zero bias voltage, you have maximum capacitance. But as you increase the reverse bias, what will happen? The depletion layer width will increase and the capacitance will go on decreasing. So this is called as a varactor diode, and this is the equivalent circuit. So then we have a p-n diode. So why is it called as a p-n diode? Because it has three regions. So we have a P plus region which is very highly doped. What does this plus indicate? This is a standard notation that plus always indicates very high doping. And then we have I, which is what the intrinsic semiconductor material. So intrinsic semiconductor you might have heard in your 12th standard or first year applied physics. So what is it? It is a pure semiconductor. So there is no doping here. So then again we have N plus. So again it is a very high dope region. So what are the majority carriers here? They are electrons. And what are the majority carriers in P plus? They are holes, right? So then this is a simple diagram depicting that since this is highly doped, the resistivity is low, and since it is relatively low doped or no doped, not at all doped, this resistivity is high. And same again, we have a resistivity which is low here. So then we reverse bias is applied. Essentially, the PN diode is useless. So when a forward bias is applied, what happens? The electrons are injected from the I layer, into the I layer from the N layer, and also injected from the P layer to the I layer again. So what happens? This reduces the depletion layer, right? And because of this, what happens? This resistivity increases because obviously holes and electrons are getting uh, transferred in this layer. So because of this, low resistance is offered to the in the forward direction or when it is forward bias, so current starts flowing, right? So as you saw, this is essentially used as a switch. So we took the example of a coaxial cable. So we have, if we have a 50 ohm coaxial cable, it will not significantly load this line when it is back biased because the diode is not working. Right? But when it is forward biased, what happens is, since the current starts flowing, the resistance is reduced to around 5 ohms. So 5 in parallel with 50 will obviously have a resistance of around 5 ohms, because parallel combination, if you always see it, is the answer is nearer to the lower value. So the cable is not now of 50 ohms. We have studied transmission lines. So coaxial line is nothing but a transmission line. So its characteristic impedance is changing from 50 ohms to drastically around 5 ohms. So obviously it will not work correctly. So it will get cut off and the diode is acting as a switch. So this is the equivalent circuit. Then we saw the applications. Then we went to the tunnel diode. Right? So what happens in a tunnel diode? Basically tunneling takes place, right? So we saw that when the reverse bias voltage is there, the current decreases from the negative to the positive value, and when the voltage is or the voltage is given as forward bias, that is P is applied to positive terminal and N is applied to negative terminal, then the voltage increases corresponding to the current. So this is a positive resistance region. But above a peak voltage Vp, what happens, the even though the voltage increases, the current starts decreasing, and in this negative resistance region is where we get the oscillations or the amplification. So this negative resistance region is very important, which we will see again today in impetant rapid diodes. Okay. So this is what is understood from the diagram. So that is what is mentioned here. So then when the voltage V equal to 0 is given, that is it is unbiased, we see that the Fermi levels in the energy band diagram are at the same level. So essentially there is no transfer of electron energy. Okay. So the net tunneling on the thin barrier is 0. So, but once you increase the voltage between 0 to Vp, what will happen is this conduction band starts creeping into this filled state. So that is shown with this dark gray color. So because of this, so electrons have come here. So these electrons can tunnel into this valence band now, because they see a valence band or empty state here. Okay, so as you saw here, there was an empty state here. So because of this, tunneling can take place. So due to this tunneling, the forward current will increase as bias voltage increases. So what will happen when V equal to Vp? So this entire state will be dark gray. So that is all, this will be occupied by electrons. So entire tunneling can happen here. So this is the peak thing which can happen. Okay. So this gives rise to peak current at the bias voltage Vp. So that is what is again shown here. So at peak voltage we have the peak value. So after this peak voltage, again the current will start to decrease, because this gray region will now go upward further. So this will have empty space here. So as I said, so tunneling will decrease. So current will go on decreasing even though the voltage is decreasing. So this is how we get a negative resistance region, right? And this is where we get the oscillations. So if you further increase the voltage above the value point, this will further go upward and no tunneling can take place again. Okay. So basically they are used as what, for amplifications and oscillations. So then we went to gun diode. So we saw that transferred electron device is nothing but a gun diode. So what they are? They are bulk semiconductor devices having no junction or gates as compared to microwave transistors, which operate with their junctions or gates. And we also saw that TDS operate with hot electrons while transistor operate with warm electrons. That is, the temperature of transferred electrons devices is higher, we can see. So then we saw gun effect. So what happens in a gun effect? Mr. Gunn observed that above some critical voltage, the current in the specimen becomes a fluctuating function of time. So means what, we see a AC signal sort of, even though we have applied a DC signal. So, and because of this, negative resistance manifests itself under certain conditions. And we saw a while ago that if negative resistance manifests itself, we can have some oscillations, right? So this is understood with the help of RWS theory or two valley theory. So you see this diagram, we have a lower valley and a upper valley. So what happens in a lower valley is the mass is low. Because of this, we have a high velocity or mobility, and the mass here is higher as compared to this, so the mobility here is less, and there is a passband separation of 0.36 electron volts of energy. So that is what is given here. So somehow we want the electrons to travel from the lower value to the upper value. So for that, we understand with the help of this diagram. When the applied electric field is lower than the electric field of lower value EL, then electrons will, we cannot transfer here. So all the electrons will occupy states in the lower value, right? So since the mass is less here, they will travel with high average velocity. and drift velocity increases with increasing potential. So there is a increasing current density in this region and hence positive potential difference. So we are not getting negative resistance region here. So but when we increase the electric field above EL but less than the upper valley, what will happen? Some electrons will go towards here. Okay. So what will happen because of this? As the electrons transfer to upper valley, their mobility decreases. Why? Because as we said, the mass is low here, so velocity decreases. So because of the decreasing velocity, there is a decreasing current density, right? So because of this decreasing current density, we get a negative differential resistivity. So what will happen if you further increase the voltage above this? So further the velocity is reduced, so further current density is reduced, so you get a complete negative resistance region. So this is the important region. So this is the negative resistance region which we are talking about. So then, as I said, the domain formation is very important in gun diode to understand its working. So what happens is that without derivation, we are taking this as a statement that the decreasing drift velocity by increasing the electric field leads to a formation of high field region. So this high field electric field is referred to as domain, which is beneficial for microwave generation and amplification. So that is the thing about domain. So we saw the four modes of operation depending on the frequency multiplied by length FL and the product of doping multiplied by length. We have four modes of operation. So we saw that the gun oscillation mode is unstable. So we mainly study the stable amplification mode. So stable amplification mode is further divided into transit time gun domain mode. So here FL is of the order of 10 raised to 7 meters per second, but T naught is equal to TT. Tau 0 is equal to tau T. So because of this, there is no AC signal seen here. So you have a DC signal only. So this is again useless. So then what we do is we increase the electric field. So because of this, what happens? Tau 0, sorry, again becomes greater than the transit time of electrons, that is tau T. So because of this, we get a AC signal as we saw yesterday, and the efficiency also increases. But if you further increase the electric field, what happens is tau 0 becomes less than tau T. So this, there is a difference here as you see. Because of this, the efficiency reduces. So I am just telling you what is happening without the working, because we have already done this yesterday. So let's proceed to the new topic. Again, let me check whether the recording is correctly happening. Hello? Yeah. So next is avalanche transit time devices. So this mainly rely on the effect of voltage breakdown. So now what is breakdown? So we have already studied waveguides, right? So in fact we have studied slow wave structures. It will be easier to explain using slow wave structures. So if you have a rectangular slow wave structure, so since it is rectangular, it has a sharp point at that rectangle corner, right? So what happens when you pass a RF wave through it is at this sharpest points, the electric field becomes very high. So if this electric field becomes very high above a certain value in the range of megavolts per meter, what happens is the dielectric breaks down. So what happens in breakdown is, if you again take a very simple example of a coaxial cable, you have a conductor, then a dielectric, and then again a conductor. So between this dielectric, obviously there will be some capacitance. So if this capacitive voltage exceeds 3 into 10 raised to 6 volts per meter for a air, which is a dielectric, the dielectric breaks down. That is, a short will be created from the between the conductors. Okay? So this is nothing but breakdown. So avalanche transit time diode oscillators rely on the effect of voltage breakdown. So voltage breakdown is used as a plus point here across a reverse bias PN junction to produce a supply of holes and electrons. Okay. So as we saw, negative resistance region is very important. So scientists are trying to create this negative resistance region for a two terminal device. So which was the first device which we studied was tunnel diode. So it exhibits negative resistance region. So then the other devices are transferred electron devices, and what is this? The gun diode and avalanche transit time devices. So this is a short introduction to this. So we saw that the transfer electron device, which is nothing but the gun oscillator or gun diode, it operates simply by the application of a DC voltage to a bulk semiconductor, that is a GaAs semiconductor, and there are no PN junctions in this device. Okay. and it depends on the natural frequency of the resonant circuit. But what happens in an avalanche diode oscillator is it uses carrier impact ionization and drift, that is the velocity in the high field region of a semiconductor junction. So what is this? This we'll see today. So there are two distinct modes, which is the impact diode and the trapper diode. So impact diode is impact ionization avalanche transit time operation. So it converts DC to RF and the conversion efficiency is quite low, 5 to 10%. But if you go to trapper diode, it has a high efficiency of 20 to 60%. Then we have barrier injected transit time diode. So comparatively, it has long drift regions as compared to the impact and trapper diodes. And how it works is by traversing the drift regions are generated by minority carrier injection from forward bias junctions rather than by the extracted from plasma of a avalanche region. So if you see the working, this mainly works on reverse bias junction, but this works on a forward bias junction. Okay. So let's see in detail impact diode first. So the impact diode stands for impact avalanche transit time diode. So it is RF semiconductor device that is used for generating microwave radio frequency signal, and it is used in the range of 3 to 100 gigahertz or more. And its main advantage is that it can be used for high power operation. Okay, so that is one of the main advantages of impact diode. So next the construction is, so again it is a diode. So we can have a P plus N plus junction, or we can have a P plus P N plus, or P plus I N plus. So again, what is this N plus, plus N, indicating that they are very highly doped regions. What is this I? That it is an intrinsic semiconductor, it is not doped at all. Okay. And we can either have abrupt junction, that is the doping can be in this way, or we can have a linearly graded doping as is used in P plus PN. Okay. So now, before understanding the actual operation of impact diodes, we saw that this device should exhibit negative resistance, right? So if the negative resistance exists for DC, we can safely assume that it exists for AC device, AC also. So what happens in an AC is, if an alternating voltage is applied, the current will rise when the voltage falls and vice versa. So this is the negative resistance region. So that is one definition, but we can now redefine it as that if the voltage and the current are out of phase, that is 180-degree phase shift, then also we can say that it is negative resistance region. So if we want to prove that oscillations exist in an impact diode, we can say, if we are able to prove that the voltage and current are out of phase, then we can say that we have safely proved that impact diode is exhibiting negative resistance region and therefore oscillations. So this is the simplest structure of the impact diode. So again, a reverse bias is applied. So P plus is connected to negative terminal, and positive terminal of the battery is connected to negative, the N region. Okay. So what is applied here is extremely high voltage of the order of 400 kilovolts per centimeter. So you can imagine in 1 centimeter 400 kilovolts or 0.4 megavolts of voltage is applied. So this results in a very high current. And why we are applying this high current? Again, to have a breakdown, which we have to use as to our advantage. So a normal diode will quickly break down, but the structure of an impact diode is such that it will not break down. So such a high potential gradient back biasing the diode, that is reverse biasing the diode, what causes it? Causes a flow of minority carriers across the junction. So what is the majority carriers in P plus are holes, and what are the minority carriers are electrons. So that's why electrons are shown here. So because of this reverse bias junction, since it is very high, so what will happen is the minority carriers will flow towards the N junction. So, and let's assume that the oscillations are already existing. So, and how they can exist? Because this DC signal will again directly not give 400 kilovolts. It will have some fluctuations and then it will stabilize. So in that in that fluctuations, the AC signal will be generated, and that is what we want to sustain. So let's consider the positive RF voltage, and which is riding on the DC voltage. So that is what is shown here. Okay. So since the voltage is very high, so because of this the electron and hole velocity will also be very high. So what will happen because of this very high velocity is this diode will be made of either GaAs, for example. So GaAs consists of a crystal. So since the voltages are very high, because of this the velocity will be very high. So they will be vibrating also at a very high velocity. So because of this what happens, some of the electrons and holes are getting knocked out of the crystal structure itself. So this knocking out of the crystal structure is called as impact ionization. So this additional carriers which are generated, so this keep the process continuously. So this keep on the process continuing, that the because of this additional holes and electrons are continuously generated, and this is called as the avalanche effect. Okay. So if you see this figure, this process takes a time such that even if the voltage is starting here to increase, but the first current maximum is observed here. And if you see, there is a between the peak voltage and the first current maximum, that is between the voltage maximum and the current maximum, a 90-degree phase shift is achieved. So what we require is more 90-degree phase shift to achieve the negative resistance region. So by this time what will happen is the current will have transferred to this N plus region. Okay, so we are now at the N plus region. So I went further, right? But obviously it will not stay there. So because of the reverse bias, the current pulse will move towards the cathode, that is towards the right side. So it will keep on moving further. So now what we can do is we'll change the thickness of the highly doped N plus layer, which is this range. So if we change the thickness of this highly doped N plus layer such that this phase shift between the negative maxima and this first current maxima is 90 degree. So that can be changed such that we get this 90-degree phase shift. So once we change that thickness, what we will have achieved is voltage and current are 180-degree out of phase and negative resistance is achieved. So if negative resistance is achieved, obviously we can sustain the oscillations here. Okay. So this is the basic operation of impact diode. So next, this is the equivalent circuit of the impact diode. Okay. So then advantages, so it has a higher operating range up to 3 to 100 gigahertz, and above 20 gigahertz the impact diode produces a higher continuous wave output power. So CW is continuous wave power, means it gives a continuous wave output power. The power is not decreasing in between, so it will continuously give a high output power about 20 gigahertz. So but what are the disadvantages? Those are mentioned here, that tuning is difficult as compared to gun diode because you have to change the thickness, etc. Then a relatively high voltage is required because we are talking about breakdown, right? So breakdown will happen in the range of megavolts only. So those are the disadvantages. So then applications, it is used in your FDM TDM system, and it's used in transmitter of the TV system, and it is used in measurement purposes also. So we'll see this in 5th and 6th module measurements thing. So the next is the TRAPPED diode, which stands for Trapped Plasma Avalanche Triggered Transit. So why it is called as trapped plasma is because in this junction the plasma is formed and it is actually trapped in. So let's see how is it actually trapped. So it is placed in a very high resonant cavity and reverse bias to avalanche threshold. So again we are keeping the reverse bias very high so that we get the avalanche effect which we saw in the last operation of impact diode. But it is placed in a resonant cavity. So obviously the cavity will resonate at a particular frequency. So we have seen resonators, right? So that frequency is generated, so we are getting a AC signal. So we want to sustain that AC signal. So that is where trapped diode will be used. So when the RF oscillations will begin due to this resonance in the cavity, they build up extremely rapidly due to the resonance structure, thus taking the voltage across the diode to a value much above the avalanche threshold. So how this is done, we have already seen in impact diode. So what happens because of this? Once the breakdown happens, what happens is the plasma is generated. So a conducting plasma of holes and electrons rapidly fills the entire drift zone. But what happens because of this is, since the breakdown has happened, the voltage starts to decrease. So voltage across the diode falls, which does not allow the carriers in the plasma to escape quickly. So since the voltage is drastically decreasing in a very small amount of time, the carriers are not allowed to escape as quickly as they would have in the impact diode. okay, because there was a high electric field in the impact diode. So what happens because of this is that the charge carriers are trapped in the plasma, and that's why this is the name trapped plasma for this diode. Okay. And because of this trapping, what happens is, since the voltage has reduced, the velocity will also reduce, right? So, so as they reach the device electrode, that is the end of the device, they constitute a large current. So since the velocity is low, the current will be high. So when the entire plasma is extracted, the voltage gain rises above the avalanche threshold and another cycle is initiated. So that is this cycle repeats itself continuously and we get sustained oscillations. So this is a simple operation, but the problem is we have a low power dissipation. Sorry, the we have the low power dissipation is the advantage. Dissipation means what? Uh, that the power is not lost. So it has a high efficiency, we can say. So that is what is the second point. Then Trapet is a pulse device capable of operating at much larger pulse power. So we saw continuous wave, right? Yeah, but for some applications will require pulse power only for a short duration. So for that, Trapet is a good candidate. So, but the noise figure is 60 dB. That is a disadvantage, and it has a huge harmonics. Instead of we are trying to use the diode at 2 gigahertz frequency, it will have outputs at 4 gigahertz, then 8 gigahertz, 16 gigahertz, and so on. That is at the harmonics. But as we saw, impact diode works till 100 gigahertz, but this works only till 10 gigahertz. Then it is used in radars and oscillators, as I said at the start of the lecture only. Okay. So this is the working of the Trapet diode. So next is transistors. So that we'll see in the next lecture.